Hey everybody out there on YouTube, this is TigerLily011982, and I decided to show you another magic deck. This is a 5-colored magic deck that my husband built a few years before we got married. So what I'm going to do is start with the lands. The first land I'm going to show you is Raptured Spire. It comes into play tapped and you have to pay 1 to keep it, but it adds any color to your mana pool. And I have 2 of those. The next one is Exotic Orchard. It's a land. Add to your mana pool 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls can produce. So if you have several opponents, you have an option of many different little lands. The last special land is a Reliquary Tower. You have no maximum hand size, and it adds 1 to your mana pool, which means it's a colorless land. Now I have just 3 islands. They're the older ones, so they're pretty. I have 2 plains. We have 3 swamps. 3 forests. And 3 mountains. Okay, I'm going to show you the artifacts first. The first one is called Mana Force Mace. It has Dominion, which is equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each basic land type among lands you control. Because it's a 5-color deck, you have a possibility of a +5/+5. It costs 3 to equip and 4 to put out. And the next one I'm going to show you I have 2 of. It's Kaleidostone. And basically, when it comes into play, draw a card, you pay 5, you tap it, you get 1 of each color mana added to your mana pool. So basically, say I have 2 whites and 3 swamps. Now I have 1 of each color, so maybe I can play one of my multicolored creatures. The next card I'm going to show you is Cumberstone. It's actually a blue artifact. You have to pay 3 and a blue. Creatures your opponents control get -1, -0 until the artifact goes away. I have 2 armillary spheres. And basically you pay 2, and then you pay 2 more, you tap it, you sacrifice it, and you can search for 2 basic lands. And then you reveal them and put them into your hand. That's it for the artifacts. Now we're going to move on to the white spells and creatures. I'll show you the multicolored creatures at the end. This one I used to pair with Elspeth because you get Elspeth up to her last ability and basically everything on your board is indestructible. Then you pay 2 white and then X. X is however many mana you want to pay. And put X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield where X is into play. If X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. So basically, if your creatures are indestructible, they don't get destroyed, and you get those creatures on top of it. So it's kind of a mean move. The next card I'm going to show you is Asha's Favor. It's an enchantment. It costs 3, 2 and a white. Enchant creature has flying, first strike, and vigilance. And the last white card I'm going to show you is Court Homunculus. He costs 1, but he gets +1/+1 as long as you control another artifact. Now we're moving on to the greens. This one is Macaw Riders. It costs 3, 2 and a blue, or a green, sorry. It has Dominion 2, so it gets a +1/+1 for each land type you control, so it can become a 5/5. I have a Cliff Runner. He costs 3 and 1 green. He's a 5/3, but as long as you control a red permanent, he has haste, and he has lifelink if you control a white permanent. And then the last green card, I have 3 of them, is Sylvan's Bounty. You can either gain 8 life, you pay 5 and a green for that, so you pay 6. Or you could use it for its basic land cycle, which is you pay 1 and a green, and then you search for a basic land. That's why there are 3 of them in the deck. If you get mana screwed, you search for land. Now I'm on to the red cards. This is Akiyamar. It's 2 and 2 reds. He's a 2/2 with haste. But if you pay 1 red and tap him, you can put a 3/1 red elemental creature token with haste onto the battlefield. So he makes other creatures. The next one I'll show you is Dragon Soul Knight. It's pay 2 and a red. He has first strike, or you can pay 1 of each colored mana, and then he gains flying, trample. He gets +5/+3. So he can go from a 2/2 to a 7/5. Another red card I'll show you is World Heart Phoenix. You pay 3 and a red. He has flying, but if he dies, you can pay 1 of each color, and you can return him to the graveyard. From the graveyard to the battlefield, and it comes on with 2 +1/+1 counters. So every time you bring him back, he becomes a 4/4. And the last red card I'll show you is Fury Falls. You can either do 5 damage to target creature, you pay 5 and 1 red, or you can do the basic land cycle like with this Sylvan Bounty. Now we're on to the black cards. The first one I'll show you is Flesh Former. I have 3 of these in the deck. He's a 2/2, but if you pay the 1 of each color, he gets +2/+2 and gains fear until end of turn. And target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. And you can only play this ability during your turn. So you can't use it as a defense, you have to use it as an attack more. The next one I have is Nitherhead. And this one is linked to how many cards an opponent has in their hand. Because for each card they have in their hand, he gets -1/-1. And you pay 1 and 2 swamps to get him out, and he's a 7/7, and depending on what they have in their hand is what he is. If they have nothing in his hand, they're a 7/7. If they have 5 cards, he's a 2/2. And now we'll move on to the multi-cards. This one is Sarkenval. He costs 2, a red and a green. He's one of the planeswalkers. He starts out with 4 loyalty counters. His first ability is +1. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and have haste until end of turn. His second ability is -2. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It has haste until end of turn. Or -6. Put 5/4/4 red dragon creature tokens with flying on into play. So he's useful to get dragons out. Or steal somebody's creature. Here's another multicolored. It costs 3, 1 green, 1 white, and 1 blue. It's a 3/3. It's called Skyward Eye Prophets. It has Vigilance. You can tap it to reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it into play. Otherwise, put it into your hand. So either way, you're either getting a free card or a free land. This guy just costs a red, a green, and a white. He's called Knotvine Mystic. He's a little 2/2, but what I use him for is the 3 colored mana. because he gives you a red, a green, and white when you tap him. Then I have Vagrant Plow Beast. He costs 5, a green, and a white. You pay 1 and regenerate target creature with power 5 or greater. Well, he's a 6/6, so he's one of those creatures you can regenerate. Or any of the other big creatures that you have. Hellkite Hatchling is a 2, a red, and a green. He has Devour 1, which means you can sacrifice creatures when he comes out, and he gets +1/+1 for each creature that you devoured. And Hellkite Hatchling has Flying and Trample if it devoured a creature. So you make those little 3/1 creatures with Rakshmar. Sacrifice a few of those. You got a Flying, Trampling, 4/4, 5/5. He's one of my favorites, even though he doesn't really do much. He costs 1 of each color, and he's an 8/8. But I love the artwork on this card. He's called Fusion Elemental. One of the last 2 cards I'll show you. This is Megnaroth. He costs 3, a red, a green, and a white. He has Vigilance and Trample. And whenever he blocks a creature, he deals his damage to that creature's controller equal to Megnaroth's power. So basically, somebody attacks you, you block with him, they take 6 damage. And this is my favorite card in the deck. I love the artwork on this card, and it's Maelstrom Archangel. You pay 1 of each color, flying, and if you can get her out before anybody else has a flyer, she's a 5/5, but whenever she deals combat damage to a player, you may play a non-land card from your hand without paying its mana cost. So she's a very useful card. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, click like, or comment below. If you'd like to see anything new in my videos, please comment. Thanks for watching.